We start the bulletin with disturbing habits of a group of Kenyans out to play with death. For the third day in a row, police have busted dens where revelers have congregated to violate the ban on public gatherings and arrested 30 more partying Kenyans in Kayole. This bringing to 65 the number of revelers arrested in Eastlands over the last 3 days. As Chemutai Goin reports, this coming as the number of confirmed cases in Kenya continued to soar with 6 new confirmed cases and 1 death.
After arresting 35 partygoers in Embakasi and Ruai, including the Embakasi Central Member of Parliament Benjamin Gatheru Saturday, the government is seemingly not getting its foot off the gas. Today, 24 more people are nabbed at a joint in Kayole imbibing. This despite a fervent plea to Kenyans to stay home, limit social gatherings and maintain social distance.
Wawili kati ya hawa ni wasichana ambao walikuwa wanauza pombe katika ndani ya hii club. Watu 22 ni wale wa kunywaji. They were enjoying themselves with very nice food and drinks.
The Kayole OCPD Wilson Kosgei said they got a tip-off that revelers had locked themselves in the pub.
Kenyans are coming up reporting those crook businessmen who are actually defying government directive. Kenyans are coming up. So anything that you do thinking that police are not there, when mjinga, because your information is utapata.
The group has now earned themselves a 14-day quarantine holiday. In Kajiado, however, 7 people are calling for the arrest of an assistant chief they accuse of hiring more than 20 youth to beat them at a brew den, resulting in 1 death. The group is said to have received a lashing at the home of the deceased. The assistant chief has, however, denied the allegation, saying irate residents descended on them for defying the government's directive.
Kwa saa hii hatuwezi thibitisha hiyo, lakini kwa sababu tunaendelea kufanya uchunguzi, kama ni yeyote yule ambaye alihusika atachukuliwa hatua kulingana na sheria.
As the government continued to intensify surveillance and enforce movement restriction measures, the number of those who tested positive continued to soar. Out of 766 samples tested, 6 returned positive results, bringing the total number of cases to 197. 1 person was discharged, bringing the total recoveries to 25. Sadly, 1 death was recorded in Siaya, that of a 59-year-old man, James Oyugi Anyango, pushing the number of deaths to 8. Siaya death now has the Ministry of Health officials working round the clock to identify individuals who may have come into contact with the deceased. According to police reports, the deceased James Oyugi from Ukwala location Kamalunga village, who worked at the Kenya Ports Authority in Mombasa, travelled with his wife and 2 daughters on April 5th from Mombasa to Nairobi, where they spent the night. On 6th, while on the way to Kisumu, they were involved in an accident at Awasi. His brother sent a car to pick them and they spent the night in Kisumu. On 7th April, he left Kisumu and arrived in Ukwala, Siaya County, where he stayed indoors. However, 3 days later, on 10th April, he started to cough and was rushed to Matibabu Foundation Private Hospital. He unfortunately passed away at 7 p.m. Samples were taken from his body and submitted to Kemri. The results were positive for COVID-19. The body was disinfected and he was laid to rest at around 2:30 a.m. A distraught family couldn't hide the pain, having not mourned him the traditional way. Over 40 people who came into contact with him have already been placed on quarantine, with more being sought to contain local transmission. As the number of new cases continues to rise, albeit slower than the case last week, the actual picture on the ground will be known once mass testing of Kenyans begins. But in order to get ahead of the virus and actually stay ahead of it, Kenyans will be required to heed to government directives that have been put in place to contain the spread of the coronavirus. Chemutai Goin, Citizen TV, Nairobi.